Hi again, everyone. This is Katie from Pilates Physio Cork here with your antenatal Pilates class for what would have been week 6 if we were able to meet up together. You can use Jo's warm-up video at the start before this class and then her cool-down video at the end just to top and tail the class and finish your workout. And just making sure, as always, that throughout all of the exercises that you're symptom-free and that you're able to breathe a nice relaxed breath throughout. Even if you're getting a little bit of a higher breath rate as we're working hard, that's fine. Just making sure that you're able to speak still, that you're not getting too out of breath during your pregnancy, and that you're symptom free all the time. So if you need to modify anything, just make sure you do that. I'll give you some pointers as we go, but don't wait for me to say that. If you're feeling there's any symptoms, then change the position, make it a little bit easier, leave out the weights if we're using them, so that you're able to exercise symptom free. So hope you enjoy the class, and let's get going. Great, so we're going to start off in standing. If you have some weights that you're happy to use and that feel an appropriate weight for you, then just hold on to them, one in each hand. If you don't have any, or you're finding that using them gives you symptoms, use a lighter weight, or it's fine without as well. So let's just start feet hip distance apart. Take a moment just to check that everything's relaxed. Find that relaxed breath. Great, and then think of that helium balloon drawing you up towards the ceiling. Holding your feet, shoulder blades down into the back pockets. Ribs are soft. Pelvis is neutral, so you can tilt forward and back. Find that neutral pelvis. Knees are soft, and weight evenly spread throughout the feet. And we're going to start just with a very simple squat. So I just want you to bend your knees and imagine you're sitting down into a little chair behind you, and then push through your heels to come back up. So bending the knees, just within a range that's symptom-free. If you're getting any pelvic girdle pain, then you might want to bring your feet a little closer together, or just not bend so far, or leave the weights out. So just adjust it as you need to. If everything is feeling fine, then we're going to go low enough so we can touch the weights or your hands onto the floor. And then when you come back up, we're going to push the hands up to the ceiling. So bending down, touch the floor, push through the heels, push to the ceiling. Great. So just keeping breathing throughout. And you can't see my hands at the top of the shot, so I'm just straightening my elbows up to the ceiling. Keeping breathing the whole time. So I'm just going to go sideways so you can see my bum's going back like I'm sitting into a chair. And then push up. Keeping breathing the whole time. Really great. And just think about keeping the neck long, shoulder blades down into the back pockets. And if you get any back pain as you're working, then just check. Does my pelvis need to adjust a little into neutral? Will that help those symptoms? Will that change things for me? Nearly there. Take a rest at any point if you need to. Grab us some water. But if you can keep going, we've just got 10 more seconds. Nearly there. Getting hotter quicker with this lovely sun. And finish. Great, so just set your weights down. We'll take a second just to rest. I'm going to show you what's coming next. So we're going to come into a split stance. So standing on one leg and the other leg behind with the heel raised. Again, if you're happy using the weights, you can take one in each hand, but if not, leave them out, that's fine. Or find something lighter. And all we're going to do is bend that front knee, drop the back knee down towards the floor, push through the heel, come back up. So just a split stance squat. So bending the knee and back up. So join with me if you're ready. We're going to keep that helium balloon drawing to the ceiling. Shoulder blades into the back pockets. Lengthen the tailbone. Great. And then if that's feeling good, push the hands to the ceiling as you bend. And then back down. So pushing up and back down. Remember, you can always do the arms without using the weights as well. So if the weights aren't feeling good, Just use the arms without. That's good. And there we go. Keeping breathing. And we're going for a minute with this. Really good. So just checking, breathing the whole time. And as you tire, you might find I can't push my arms up anymore. That's fine, then just carry on with your legs. No problem. You might need to adjust as you go and as you're getting tired out. Keep the breath at a point so you could answer if somebody asked you a question. Last one. Great. And then we're going to do the other side. So other foot in front. You might just take a second, give yourself a breather. Grab a sip of water if you need. And then when you're ready, step with the other leg in front, lifting the back heel. Think of that helium balloon drawing you to the ceiling. Shoulder blades in the back pocket, but not over-correcting. Think of softening the ribs. Lengthen the tailbone. And then we're going to bend that back knee and back up. Bending and push through the front heel. So down here we're going to push through the heel to come back up. The front one. So I'm trying to keep this shin kind of perpendicular to the floor. I don't want the knee going forward here. I want to keep that shin kind of straight up. Now if you're ready and up for it, push the hands to the ceiling and back down. Great. And remember, if you're not using the weights, then we can just use the hands the same way. And you're going to be using your core, getting a bit of movement through the arms and the thoracic spine, which is really beneficial. We get so stiff up here. All of these arm movements are helping to mobilize there. Great. And if you're still able to, keep those arms going. Nearly there. 3 more. I haven't got my clock quite in the right spot to see it easily. 1 more. And back down. Excellent. Okay. So, take a little rest, get your breath. We're going to do some curtsy lunges. Again, you can keep using the weights, but if you've had enough, you're getting too tired, or you've got any symptoms, leave them out. So, starting from a nice relaxed neutral position, we're going to step to the side, back leg is crossing over behind, bend the knee, and then push through this front heel to come back up. Step the other way, step behind, dropping that knee down, push through the heel to come back up. So step to the side and drop down. Great. So you can hear I'm getting quite out of breath here. Maybe you are too. I hope so. That's part of the aim. We want to get a bit of a cardiovascular workout here too. Just monitoring it all the time for you and for baby. Taking a rest as you need to. You can always pause the video, or you can just let me carry on my own for a minute if need be, and join you when you're ready. Now, if you're able, and you have an appropriate weight, then you could stretch the arms out in front and bring them in. Stretch them out and bring them in. Now, I've had to drop down to just one weight here because I wouldn't be strong enough to do that with the 2 that I have. So just modify it as you need to. Or maybe you're finding the 2 weight is too much. Just use the arms without. And that's going to be really helpful too. So we're still working the glutes and the thighs here. Crossing that leg behind so it's not straight. If I show you front on, my leg is crossed over there. Great. And nearly there. Last one each side. Great work. Well done. And rest. Let's take a moment just to catch your breath. Grab a sip of water if you need to. And if you have a TheraBand or any kind of stretchy exercise band, you can use this for the next exercise. But if you don't, that's absolutely fine. You can do it without. Now, if you do, you're just going to pop it around your knees. If you have a long band that's not a circle, then tie it around, tie a knot at the front, and that will work the same way. But as I said, you can do it fine without. So, we're going to start feet together. Find your neutral position, and we're going to come down into a squat. Lengthen the tailbone. So just making sure here you're not letting this arch be too pronounced. You're kind of likely to get a bit of low back discomfort there. So lengthen the tailbone away. And then in this position, we're going to step out to the side and together. And then out to the side the other way and together. Think of those shoulder blades drawing down into your back pockets. Keeping the knees bent the whole time. So I'm not coming up in between. I'm staying low. Now if you've got enough space, you could take a few steps to one side and then go back the other way. But if you're a little bit short on space, then just one side and back again. That's going to work just fine. So you can feel you're starting to get a bit tired in the quads and in the glutes. And even without the band, sustaining this position, you're going to be feeling it as well. So if you have a long corridor, hallway, you could go sideways down the corridor the whole way along, and then turn back, go the other way, whole way along the corridor. Just keeping knees bent, keeping low. Can you feel that starting to burn? As long as you have no symptoms, no pubic girdle pain, then that's fine. We want to feel those muscles getting tired. That's how we're going to get strong. Nearly there. And one more each side. Sorry, I lied. That was the first side, and one more to finish. Great, well done. So pop the band off if you're using it. And we've got one more exercise here in standing. So we're going to do a deadlift. Again, if you have a weight, you can use it. If you don't, then just doing the movement without, it's still going to be working the hamstrings and the glutes. So I'm going to stand sideways so you can see. Find that neutral position to start. Think of the helium balloon, shoulders down, holding your peach, ribs soft, lengthen the tailbone away, knees soft, and your weight evenly spread. Now I'm going to hinge at the hips. So really think of sending your bum back and sliding your hands down the shins. You might soften the knees towards the end and then come back up again. So we're going to try and work this really slow on the way down. But on the way back up, I don't mind how fast you can. Great. So really think about the bum going backwards. So we're hinging at the hips. And back up. Keep that relaxed breath. I know you'll be breathing a bit faster by now. That's okay. But what you want to avoid is allowing that to become just a chest-dominant breath. We want to keep breathing right down into the bottom of your rib cage as much as you can. I know that can start to feel a little restricted as the baby gets bigger, especially if the baby is sitting in a certain way and you're finding it harder. So then you may just need to take rest a little bit more often, and that's just fine. Listen to your body. Great. And we've got time for just one more. And back up again. Well done. Great. So we can set the weights down and we're going to come down onto the mat. Great. So heading down into 4-point kneeling. If you have weights, then we're going to use them for this first exercise. So just have them as I'm holding them here. If you don't have any weights and you can't find anything or you don't want to use anything from around the house, then just do the movement itself and maintaining your neutral position, and you'll be working your core really nicely that way. So hands are directly underneath the shoulders, knees are directly underneath the hips. Think about shrugging the shoulders down towards the waist, pushing the floor away from you, and then finding that neutral position. So just avoiding letting gravity drop you down like this, and also baby dragging you down. So just keep that nice flat back position, strong across the lower back and the upper back. And we're going to hold the peach between the chin and the chest. Take a breath in to prepare, and then as you breathe out, keep in your neutral position. We're just going to draw the elbow up towards the ceiling and then lower back down. And then the same thing on the other side. Draw the elbow up to the ceiling and lower back down. So we're going to breathe out as you draw the elbow up and breathe in as you lower. Of course, if that feels too complicated and you get confused when you're breathing, then just breathe as it feels natural, but just make sure that you're not holding your breath. So as you lift, there'll be this tendency to hold your breath. Make sure that's not what you're doing. If you are, then that's when it can be really helpful to think specifically of breathing out as you lift up. So keeping that neutral position, keep thinking of pushing the floor away from you with the hand that's still supporting you. And think about a tray of drinks that's balanced on your back. So as you lift the arm up, whether it's with or without the weight, you're trying to avoid twisting and tilting. So we're just keeping that back strong. All that's moving, it's like a string, is pulling your elbow up towards the ceiling and then control, lower back down again. And just like with our deadlifts, it's that lower back down where we want to be really nice and slow and controlled. We're going to go for one more on each side after this one. Keeping breathing, keeping neutral. Slowly lower it down. Last one. Really great. Nearly there. Well done. Okay, so you can get rid of the weights now if you're using them. I can't go too far. So we're going to do a thread the needle now just to loosen out that upper back. So if you reach your hand up towards the ceiling, look at your hand, and then slide that hand between your arm and your body. Let your head, shoulder and arm all rest on the floor. And then we'll go the other side. So hand up towards the ceiling. Look at your hand, getting as much rotation as you can, and slide arm right through, resting on the floor. And we're just going to alternate sides. Now, if you're at the point where it feels too uncomfortable and you don't feel like you've got enough room, that the bump is just getting in the way and you can't get into that rotation that you want, then using a stick. So if you don't have an appropriate stick that's just for this purpose, then just a broom handle can work, or your mop can work quite nicely as well. So you can do that exercise in standing, just holding the stick and getting the same arm movement, so reaching up and then sliding your arm through. And then the same thing on the other side. And on the last repetition, what we're going to do is just hold that position once on each side. So when you're down here now, just take a breath and enjoy that stretch. You can use this palm that's on the floor to gently increase the rotation if that feels okay for you. If you already feel like it's quite a big stretch, then you needn't add that bit in. And one time, we're going to hold on this side. So just a few breath cycles here. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to come back into 4-point kneeling now. If you have weights that you're able to hold and your wrists feel uncomfortable, then you could keep holding them. Otherwise, just finding a position so you can be on your fists if that feels better, or gripping the floor with your fingers sometimes helps. I find often it's just changing positions so I'm not in any one position for too long, or just take a rest and give them a little circle round. So if you're getting any discomfort in the wrists, as with anywhere, make sure you move and change something. So we're going to be in 4-point kneeling, shoulders down, push the floor away, pelvis into neutral, and holding your peach. And we're just going to do a little bit of breath work and pelvic floor exercises here. So starting off by just noticing what's happening with your breathing. Notice what's moving as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then seeing, can you start to bring the breath into the lower rib cage a little bit more. So as you breathe in, can you feel like you're expanding into the side of the ribs and front and back? So the whole way around the rib cage. We don't want to focus this just into the belly. We really need the whole rib cage moving so that we're getting full diaphragm movement And so we're not just using our upper shoulder accessory muscles for breathing, and also to avoid too much pressure going into the pelvic floor. So you could just check in with the pelvic floor now and check, am I holding any tension there? Could I relax around the pelvic floor? So just think about the area between your sitting bones. Maybe think about as you breathe in, those sitting bones spreading wider apart. And then as you breathe out, there's maybe a little recoil back up again. Now that's very subtle and small movement, so you may not notice it at this point, but just try and visualize it happening anyway. As you breathe out, everything stretches, the sitting bones move wider apart, and as you breathe out, they soften back in. So just focus there, and then back to the ribs. So the tummy will be expanding as you breathe in as well. We want that, but we just don't want only that. Think of the shoulders still drawing down towards your waist and pushing the floor away. Great. Now you might find that this position gets a bit sore on the shoulders. You want to take a rest, so do that at any point when you need to. We're going to stay in this position for the pelvic floor exercises, but you don't have to. So if you're not comfortable here, then just come into side lying or any other position you're comfortable in. And you can do your pelvic floor exercises there just as well. But it's good to practice them in different positions, and that's why I'm demonstrating them from here. So back to your 4-point kneeling position if that's working for you. Find that relaxed breath again, and we're going to start with some pelvic floor strengthening. So remember, if you have an overactive pelvic floor, then just carry on with your breath work and don't do these exercises specifically now. So we're going to breathe in, let everything relax, and then as you breathe out, tighten around the back passage, draw up inside as high as you can go, and then breathe in and release. We're going to go for 10 times, so breathing out as you draw up inside, breathing in as you let go and release. So make sure as you breathe out and draw up inside, it's just the pelvic floor, you're not squeezing your buttocks or your inside thighs. Breathe in and release. So just focusing on the pelvic floor. Breathe out, tighten around the back passage, draw up inside, breathe in and release. Check in on the next one that you're fully letting go and releasing. So breathe out, tighten and lift. Breathe in and fully release all the way back down. If you need to take a breath in between each repetition to make sure you get that release, then you do that. And again, breathe out, tighten and lift. Breathe in and release. And again, breathe out, tighten and lift. Breathe in and release all the way back down. So this time I want you to focus on the tightening coming from the back passage and zipping up towards the front passage. So breathe out, tighten around the back passage, zip up towards the front. Breathe in and release all the way down. Breathe out, tighten and lift and zip up. Breathe in and release back down. And breathe out, tighten and lift, zip up. Breathe in and release back down. Good, let's come down into a prayer stretch. Spread the knees wider, stretch the arms forward. Just let your head relax. And let's think about relaxing that pelvic floor now, having done some strength. We're going to come on to our slow twitch exercises in a minute, but I just want to give you time for everything to release. If you find you don't have space in this prayer stretch position now, then again you can use your mop or your stick, stretching out your hands on there and just letting everything relax from a standing position. Or you could come bring your hands onto the sofa in front of you and just let everything drop down that way as well. So whichever position is better for you. And as you breathe in, thinking of those sitting bones spreading wider. And breathe out, let everything relax. Breathing in, relaxing around the pelvic floor, releasing. Breathing out, and it will recoil back. Okay, one more breath like that. Breathing in and out. Great. So we're going to come back to 4-point kneeling, or whatever position is working best for you. Find that neutral position again, and we're going to do some slow twitch work. So this is where we're going to contract just 30%, not a maximal contraction, and we're going to aim to hold it for 10 seconds, or whatever is your maximal endurance. So remember to find that, you want to see how long can I hold it for and still be able to release and let go at the end. And when you're holding the contraction, it's really important that you're breathing. So this isn't a hold and breath hold, it's a hold and keep breathing. So 30%, and however many seconds you can hold it for, up to 10, and still release at the end. So you may need to play around and find that. So let's breathe in, let everything relax. Then breathe out, tighten around the back passage, gently drop inside, just 30%. And then just maintain that. And keep breathing. Keep breathing. Keeping breathing. And release. Good, and make sure you fully release before you go again. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tighten and lift, just 30%, so it's very gentle. And you may feel those lower tummy muscles, especially in this position where everything's going to be drawing down towards the floor, those lower tummy muscles gently tightening as well. If it's the lower tummy muscles only, we're keeping breathing as I'm talking, keep contracting. Then that's good, but if you're bracing everything, then you're working too hard. Let's breathe in and release. Take a rest between. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tighten and lift 30%. And keep breathing. Keeping breathing. So you may need to release quicker than I am cueing you to do here. If you haven't got endurance for 10 seconds, then that would be totally normal as you're getting bigger, or if you haven't built up that endurance yet. So just work with the level that you're at today and breathe in and release. Great. Let's go again. So breathe in, let everything relax. Breathe out, tighten and lift just gently, 30%. Keep breathing. Keeping breathing. Keep breathing. See, can you think about those shoulder blades sliding down? Push the floor away. Keeping breathing. And release. One more time. So breathe in, let everything relax. And we're going to breathe out, tighten and lift, just gently. And keep breathing. Keeping breathing. Keep that gentle contraction. It shouldn't be engaging your buttocks, your inside thighs, your global abdominals. That should still be relaxed. And release. Lovely. Okay. Just take a moment to circle those shoulders around. Let everything release. And the wrists. I'm just going to do a simple spine twist to stretch out from the upper back. After that position for a long time, it can feel quite sore. So hands in a prayer position on your breastbone. Think of a helium balloon drawing you up towards the ceiling, shoulders down into the back pockets. Keep your hips facing the front and your nose in line with your fingers as you rotate to the side. And then back to the front again. And then we go the other way. So nose in line with the fingers on the breastbone. And back to the front. And again, rotating to the sides. Keep those shoulders down into your back pockets. Helium balloon drawing you to the ceiling. Lovely. Can you feel that stretch in the upper back? Such a good stretch. And then we're going to hold the next one. When you get to your end range, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, can you go just a little further? And back to the start again. And last one on the other side. And a little further. Great, okay. Just circling those shoulders, turning your head from side to side. Stretching out the neck. We're going to come back into 4-point kneeling for one more exercise. So this time we want to get a bit of mobility around the pelvis. And we're thinking about the pelvic floor and the inside thighs getting a bit of stretch as well here. So let's take a breath in to relax everything. And then imagine you've got a pencil on your tailbone and you want to draw circles on the wall behind you with that pencil. So we're going to rotate around, get the biggest circle that you can, drawing on that wall. Keep that nice relaxed breath. Now you may want to bring the knees a little wider than hip distance, and you'll get a little bit more of an inside thigh stretch that way. But if that doesn't feel right, if you're getting any symptoms, then bring them in a little bit closer. Biggest circles that you can, keeping breathing. And really thinking of relaxing the pelvic floor. So just noticing any tension that you're holding in that area, trying to make sure you release. Let's go the other way. So reverse the direction of your circle now. And really focusing on releasing and stretching, getting as much mobility through that area as you can. Good. Really nice. Feel that all stretching out. Good. And we're going to come back into one more prayer stretch. Just take a moment, let your head rest on the floor, turn your head side to side. And if it feels good, you can walk your hands around to the side. Go as far as you can, keeping your body between your arms. Feel that stretch down the side, right from the shoulder down to the hip. Take a breath in there. And relax into it as you breathe out. And then you can walk your hands back round to the center. Keep going right round to the other side. Feel that stretch. And breathing. So really using the breath to feel that stretch. And relax into that lovely range of motion. And back to the center again. Great. Well done. So we're going to come into side lying now. If you have a pillow, you could put it between your arm and your head. And with all of these side lying exercises, if you get any pelvic girdle pain, you've got a couple of options to help you modify. If you have a TheraBand, then you could hook it around your foot, hold it with your hands, and use that to help you lift the legs, so you're offloading some of the weight. The other thing you can do is any of the exercises that I'm demonstrating, you can bend the knee, and instead of lifting a long leg, you can bend the knee and lift with a bent knee, so it's kind of a short lever and it won't be as much weight, so you may relieve any symptoms that you're having. If neither of those things work and you're not able to find a way of doing it without any symptoms, then don't do the exercise. Don't do anything that's aggravating that discomfort. So we're going to start with the top leg bent onto the floor, the underneath leg straight in line with the spine. Think about your shoulder blade into the back pocket, holding your peach between your chin and your chest. And again, you can do this with a bent knee if need be. But if you're able, then we're going to keep the leg long and we're going to lengthen the leg to lift and lower. So we're going to lengthen to lift up. You feel those inside thighs working. Lengthen the leg to lower. So keep relaxed in the head, neck and shoulders. And just lifting and lowering. So the only place where you're going to feel a lot of tension and work happening is that inside thigh. So you can keep a nice relaxed breath and keep the upper body nice and relaxed and out of it. So you want to try and maintain that neutral position around your shoulder blade, but there shouldn't be a lot of tension involved in doing that. So lifting, and then see can you lower it with nice slow control. Lengthen the leg to lift, and lengthen to lower. Last one, lengthen to lift, and lengthen to lower. Great job, well done. So now we're going to straighten out that top leg as well. And as you do it, just check you've got a neutral pelvis, so lengthening that tailbone away, stacking the hips on top of each other, so you're not rolling backwards, but they're really on top. And then lengthening that top leg away. So as you do that, you feel the hip lengthen towards the toes, the underneath waist lift. And all of those three positional cues are to help us get the right position to really target the glutes. So if you feel as you're doing the exercises that it's not here, you're feeling it more in the thigh or the front of the hip, just check pelvis neutral, hips stacked, lengthen that leg away. If you're finding it hard to balance in that position, you can bend that underneath leg a little bit and use your hand in front of you if you feel like it's a real struggle to stay still. So all of those are different modifications, and again, you can bend this top leg and work with the bent knee if need be. So we're going to lengthen the leg up to hip height, and we're going to keep it at hip height, keep the pelvis still, and we're going to circle 8 times one direction and 8 times the other way. Imagine you've got a glass of water balanced on that top hip and you don't want to let it spill, so I don't want a lot of rotation happening around the trunk, around the pelvis. It's just the movement of the leg from the hip. So they don't have to be very big circles, just what you can control. Check in with your upper body. Can you relax? Head, neck and shoulders. Check the breathing. And now let's reverse the direction of the circles. Keeping that glass of water nice and still. Keep breathing. I know you can feel that burn in the bum. That's what we want. That's just where you want to feel it. If you're not feeling it there and you're feeling it somewhere else instead, then try one of those modifications we talked about earlier and see, does that change things for you? Nearly there. Great job. And lower back down. So let's just take a quick second to relax. You can use your heel of your hand to massage that out if need be, if it's burning. Otherwise, just take a breather. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back. One more exercise in this position. So check your pelvis is neutral, hips stacked, leg lengthened, shoulder blade in the back pocket, holding your peach, ribs soft. We're going to lengthen the leg to lift, flex the foot, and lengthen to lower. Lengthen the leg to lift, lengthen the leg to lower. Lengthen to lift, and lengthen to lower. We still want to be feeling it in that bum. So remember, check your position if that's not where you're feeling it. Any pelvic girdle pain, use your TheraBand or bend the knee. I mean, if you don't have a TheraBand, you could always use something like a long scarf or any other thing that you could loop around your foot and just use to help lift and lower. Nearly there. Keep relaxed in the upper body. Keep breathing. And last one. Great. Well done. So we're going to do all of that on the other side now. So if you want to swap over, or you could just roll over. I'm going to keep facing the camera. So a pillow between your head and your arm. If you don't have a pillow to hand, you can always just double your arm up, but you're just trying to make sure your neck feels relaxed and there's no strain there as you're lying on your side. Bend the top leg, lengthen the leg to lift, and then you just come this way a little. Lengthen the leg to lift, and lengthen to lower. Lengthen to lift, and lengthen to lower. Remember, you can bend the knee, use a scarf if you've got pelvic girdle pain. If that doesn't resolve it, then just don't do this exercise. Great job. Keep breathing. And relax. Relax the upper body. I mean, the leg is obviously working hard. Doing really well. Keep it up. Keep breathing. So you're going to be feeling that in the inside thigh. Nearly there. Lifting as high as you can each time, as long as it's symptom free. Just make sure you don't use a breath hold at the top when you feel like there's a lot of effort. It feels like it's going to help, but it doesn't actually add anything. It's not going to make it easier. And relax. Well done. So now we're going to straighten that top leg out. Remember, you can bend this knee if you need it for balance. You're going to be working your core harder if you have the leg straight. So if it feels alright, then you can add that in. So find your neutral position, pelvis neutral, hips stacked, lengthen that top leg away. You're going to lengthen it to hip height, and 8 circles one direction, 8 circles the other direction. Keeping the upper body as relaxed as you can. And if you're using this hand here, you don't have to, it could be on your leg. But if you're using the hand here, you're trying to use it as little as possible. So you're trying not to grip the floor with white knuckles, but just keeping the hand relaxed. Let's reverse the direction. I know my counting to 8 was not very good there. That was a lot more than 8. So we're going to try and even that up with this direction as well. But you work at the level that's right for you. If you're starting to feel fatigue or symptoms are coming on, then you stop. And as we get stronger, you can do more. Keep relaxed in the shoulders and the neck. Great. And relax down. Take a second to rest, massage at that buttock if you need to. And when you're ready, we're coming back into that position for the last exercise. So find your neutral position, and then we're going to lengthen the leg to lift, flex the foot to lower. Lengthen to lift, flex the foot and lengthen to lower. So you really want that sense of trying to lengthen the leg all the way up and all the way down. That's one of the things that's going to help you to target this into the bum. Is that real kind of trying to make your leg as long as possible. Try and touch whatever is closest to you to keep that sense of lengthening. And also trying to keep that control all the way down again. So I know it's really tempting for gravity just to do that work and plonk it back down, but you want to be in control, keeping that nice slow lower all the way through, nearly there. I can feel it burning in the glutes. I hope you can too. We want to be feeling that this muscle's getting fatigued. That's just fine, but we just don't want to be aggravating symptoms as we do it. And one more, and we're done. Great, well done. So just stretching out those glutes to finish. Come into full kneeling, put your right foot in front of the left knee, slide the leg behind, and come down into a glute stretch. You want to be feeling the stretch right into your bum. Now, if you're finding that you're unable to get into this position anymore, then you can come into a seating position. Put your foot across here, so sitting in a chair will work just fine. If you imagine I'm in a chair here, put your foot on your knee and leaning forwards onto it, and you should feel a stretch into that buttock just the same. So that's an option as well. Then we'll swap to the other side, so left foot in front of the right knee, and let's stretch backwards. A little bit short on space here. Great. And just play around, roll around until you find that stretch into the left buttock. And it should be just the same place that you feel that's been working with the last few exercises inside lying. So roll around and explore until you get that spot where you feel, oh yeah, that's it, that's where I'm tight. Let's use the breath to help us here. So as you breathe in, think of it blowing up like a balloon around the buttock. And as you breathe out, relax into that stretch. One more breath. Well done. That's it. Great work, everybody.